Greetings, everybody, and welcome to STOWorld. Tony here with you, and here with episode number 11, we're going to be talking about the Omega ground sets, which is all your STF ground sets, your Omega set, Mako set, and the adapted Mako set. And we're going to do some ground STF. We're going to do a ground STF. We're going to do Cure Ground Elite. Now, the thing that's been going on is this. I've had a lot of people mail me in game and also come up to me and say, hey, you know, Tony, everyone does the walkthroughs for the space STFs, but could you do the ground ones? And you know, I will do some space walkthroughs. I mean, you've seen me do some runs with some people here, but you know, to be honest with you, many people don't really like to focus on the ground, even though I think the ground is awesome. And I'm a huge fan of the ground STFs. They're a lot of fun. High Ground Elite is my favorite STF, and we will do that eventually, you know, but it's very hard to get a team to want to do HGE, which is kind of a very, it could be difficult because it is pretty crazy. I mean, you got all sorts of craziness going on in there as far as the amount of Borg, but the ground STFs are something that a lot of people don't do. Many people shy away from them. You don't get quite as much stuff as far as being able to get energy credits. I mean, you know, you get more energy credits from the loot that you get in the space ones, but the ground ones are fun. I mean, if you really spec your character well to be able to handle them and get the right set, I mean, I could tell you right now, they are a pretty cool commodity and a lot of fun to play. My favorite being High Ground Elite, but they're all really cool. Cure Ground Elite is one that many people haven't really done much of. But lately, people on the Elite STF channel have been doing it. So you're just kind of seeing me chillaxing here on an asteroid. Yes, I'm farming some dilithium. I'm doing the rich dilithium mining thing. I have a ton of those mining acquisitions I ended up buying in the Dominion lockbox. But anyway, before I get to the episode, some things that are going to be coming up, I will do some walkthroughs on each of the STFs. I am also going to do some episodes on various ships. I might do an episode on all the lockboxes and which ones I think are great, which ones I think suck. I'm not a huge fan of the Alachi lockbox myself, although I do like the one trait you get, regenerative tissue. Check it out. I ended up using this as opposed to peak health. And special traits. Pretty cool stuff, actually, because I really like this. Damage resistance rating and health regeneration. I think it's pretty cool. So I'm cool with it. I like it a lot, and it's a really cool trait. So let's talk a bit about the Omega sets. And yeah, again, I'm not a huge, and again, people are asking me, what do I think of the Alachi lockbox? My opinion is this: I'm not a huge fan. My big thing is, as far as lockboxes go, I loved the temporal lockbox and the Dominion. Two of my favorites. The other ones are okay. The Ferengi one was okay. Cardassian one was, it was meh. It was okay. Tholians I'm not really into. So it all depends. You know, I'm one of those people that likes the canon Star Trek ships. So I got my Galler, my Dominion ships, Ferengi Decora, and it's kind of like, you know, after that, you know, even after the temporal vessels, it's kind of like I just have no desire for some of the other ones. The Tal Shiar one I never really got into either. So Omega sets, check this out. So there are 3 different sets that you can get from the Omega reputation system. And the last episode we went over the Omega reputation system and, you know, what you could actually get as far as sets go. We are going to go over the ground sets, and you're going to see me with a run through Cure Ground Elite. I actually had already recorded it, but I'm going to give you a step-by-step walkthrough of how Cure Ground Elite works. There's still quite a few people out there who don't do this as an STF, but there are those that just, you know, for whatever reason, this won't do it. So you have the adapted Mako set, the regular Mako set, and then you have the Omega set. Now, let's talk a bit about the adapted Mako set. And we're going to go to the bridge of my Nebula class starship. USS Destiny. You know, they were giving this ship away as part of the free C-Store giveaway. But the thing that's funny is that they gave away a bunch of stuff that a lot of people really, I guess, wouldn't be into. But yeah, here she is. She's a nice, quaint little ship. I mean, I haven't used this ship probably in 6 months, and I completely forgot it existed. Now I have the fleet version of this. Completely forgot I have a fleet version of this ship, but I ended up getting the fleet version and I never used it. As funny as that is, but I used it maybe once, but it's been a long time since I've used this ship. So, but they are giving away a Nebula class starship retrofit in the Sea Store. It is kind of cool. It does have some cool consoles on it, but I'm not really going to get into that, because what I'm going to do is go on the bridge of the USS Destiny here and go over the sets. So the adapted Mako set, which is the one that I've been using a lot lately, and this is a variant of the Klingon. There's a Klingon version of this, and the Klingons have their own version of a Starfleet set as well. But it's a version of the Klingon Honor Guard set, and it's got some pretty cool attributes. So first, let's talk about the armor. Pretty cool. Got damage resistance rating. It has, receiving damage, 10% chance to heal yourself, 40 hit points to yourself and the team. Pretty cool. You got the adrenal booster, which is nice, and Blood of the Warrior. Now, this Blood of the Warrior is a constant trait that's going on. You don't have to activate it. So, more damage, more critical chance, up the critical severity. And obviously, the integral frequency remodulation. Now, all three of these have the instant remodulator that recharges. However, it's even the enhancement to this is even better if you have this trait right here, rotating weapon frequency. So, just some thoughts. So let's take a look at it. You have this instant remodulation. You see, I'm just kind of remodulating myself here. You have this really cool shotgun / grenade launcher that's sitting right here in front of you, and it does some pretty cool stuff. It has a pulse wave. And here's the thing that's cool. Look at all the cool attributes this gun has. This has been a gun that has been a staple in my collection. You have ignores 5% of your target shields in ground combat, 15 kinetic damage versus the Borg, which is most anti-Borg weapons. 5% chance for a -25 all damage resistance rating for 10 seconds, and then you have the 10% critical severity. This gun is a badass. And you have a photon grenade launcher. It launches a grenade, and it lands, and it just kind of knocks you on your ass, basically. Lack of a better term. You have the adrenal booster, which is really cool. I love the adrenal booster because what this does is say if an enemy knocks down your shields, you hit this, and your hit points just keep regenerating and regenerating and regenerating and regenerating. It's very effective against, say, for example, you're facing an enemy, like if you're doing Kittimer Accord Ground Elite, and you're facing an enemy that is using, mental energy on you, psionic energy, and that drains you. You just hit this, and it just keeps replenishing your bar, or keeps it flat. Same thing if you get hit with an assimilation tactic by the Borg. Say if you get hit with the nanites, the assimilation nanites, and you see your life meter up here just drowning. What ends up happening is that it just keeps it pretty much replenishing so you don't die. Pretty cool stuff. But the adrenal booster is outstanding. Now, if we go to some of the other sets, so let's go to the what is this? The regular Mako. So I'll go Mako armor, Mako shield. And I use a combination of this shotgun and sniper rifle. But anyway, the Mako sniper rifle. But it's pretty cool. You have the 10% chance to restore your shield heal. It actually has a shield heal to it, which is nice. And I'll show you what I'm talking about. You have this thing down here. Emergency shield capacitor. Basically what happens is it keeps regenerating your shields when you get hit. And it also reduces damage to shields. This used to be my staple set until I got the adapted. I love the adapted a little bit more, but these are the attributes you get. You also have the really cool sniper rifle. Very nice. It's got a knockback to it with a regular shot. It is really cool. And it's like a beam shot. It's not like, your mini like phaser pulses or blasts that shoot out. It's actually a shot that what ends up happening is that when you actually hit this, it will go through and won't stop. So it has a knockback to it as opposed to the sniper shot, which is really cool. And pretty much that's the explanation of that. And the shield is cool because, you know, you got the shield capacity, but it's got knockback root resistance rating, which pretty much all of them have this as an attribute. But, you know, you have the tactical readiness network, which is nice. And, of course, the frequency remodulation that pretty much every set has. Now, we can go to the Omega thing here, the Omega set. We have the Omega set going here. And, yeah, you got the Omega, what do you want to call it? Omega Force Anti-Proton Arrow Carbine. It's actually cool. I prefer a super melee attack with a repel and a sniper shot. But this one's not bad at close quarters. You know, this is something I would use in, like, a close quarters combat, these two guns. But, honestly, not as big of a fan. It's cool. It's anti-proton. You get the anti-proton damage, a full auto sweep. You got the jab. You got the distortion field. This distortion field's pretty slick, by the way. This thing, what it does is it actually makes you invisible. And you have damage resistance, assuming that they can see you. And then you have the ambush field, which is cool. You get this ambush field, which is there, which affects your team as well. These attributes, the ambush field, tactical readiness, etc., all of these are attributes that affect your team. So if like multiple people have different sets, everybody in the team actually gets these attributes added to their character for that duration of that mission, which is kind of nice. But these are the Omega sets. They're really cool. I am a huge fan of them. And let's not forget the costumes. I mean, how could you forget the costumes? There's some really cool costumes that come with these. I have all the accolades. You get all the accolades, you get the costumes. And, well, I'll tell you what. This, for example, the Omega costume. This is when you get all the accolades. I always STF in this costume. I think it's really cool. And you can customize it, obviously. But it's my favorite. I like the black. And I like using the black suit with the Mako rifles and set. And then you have the, I guess, the newest Mako's outfit, which is cool. It's all white. Still pretty slick. But I just don't think it looks as cool as the, say, regular Mako. Or I'm sorry, as the Omega set. I think the Omega set looks a little bit cooler. Mako's not bad. Here's the regular Mako set too. Different helmet. A little darker. And some pretty cool stuff here. And yeah, so with that, since we're done checking these out, we're going to go check out a version of Cure Ground Elite. Just a random STF. I just recorded it probably a couple days ago. It's pretty slick. And, yeah, so here we go. And we're going to go to the run that we did. Check it out. And I'll do a... Oh, by the way, I'm going to do a walkthrough as well. All right, we're here on Cure Ground Elite. And you're watching me in my Omega uniform with a few other players here. And, yeah, so we just kind of got this Elite going here. Pretty good group. Everybody knew what they were doing. We ended up with the optional. And basically, to the upper right, behind me, you see that generator in the back? Well, here's the way you beat Cure Ground Elite. You got to start with the first generator, and you'll see like a plasma beam come from one generator to another. And then basically, the beams have to make it to each generator until the last generator hits the actual shield, which is barricading you in here. So, as you see, one of us started it, and we're gonna get going here with Cure Ground Elite. Now, here's the thing, guys. I'm gonna kind of talk in between as well, about some various thoughts on Star Trek Online, since I'm doing a step-by-step walkthrough, which I usually don't do a ton of these, but, you know, at the end of some videos, if I'm discussing a topic, I'll just put music to it. But this is going to be an actual walkthrough. I don't want to just put music to this and be like, yeah, here you go, guys. This is what's happening. But and just throw music on and that's it. You know, now that I've done a video on Cure, you know, at the end of some videos, maybe I'll have like a run or two where you'll see us do this. But anyway, this was a good group. I ended up getting some of these guys to subscribe to the channel. I actually told them I was doing this to put on the YouTube channel, to put on STOWorld. So it was cool. So see behind me, those beams, they have to connect with each other. Now, when you get to the actual part where you have to do unlock some of these shields, one of the things you have to realize is that the Borg will try to attack those generators and disable them as you activate them. And on top of that, you got to blow the turrets. This mission with a good team is pretty easy. However, if you don't have a good team, then you can really mess this mission up. I actually died right here because of the fact that I wasn't paying attention to my meter. But basically, you start off by attacking these Borg right here. There's an elite drone at the beginning, and I wasn't paying attention, and he basically pummels me. You'll see here in a second. And you see that Klingon that's kind of captured over there behind the Borg we're attacking. You release him, get a DNA sample, etc., etc. So check it out. Here you go. Now, my setup is I use the Mako sniper rifle and the adapted Mako set with the shotgun/grenade launcher. Now, here's how I get bombed. Oh, look at that. And I wasn't paying attention until it was too late. And bam, dead. But that was the only time I died in this mission. Usually I don't die in any of them, but we just attacked this elite here. Now the great thing about they have the adrenal stimulator on the Borg Mako adapted set is that I don't use as many hypos, because I just hit that and replenishes. It will replenish my life meter. Now here's the thing. Here is a turret. You have to DPS these turrets until that force shield around it, because the force shield doesn't let you go into it, but you can't shoot it. So once you disable the turret temporarily, you then jump in and you plant a bomb on it. It's what you call planting. So one guy has to plant on the turret, and you just kind of run in there. And I'm not planting on this one, but what I'm doing is I'm DPSing it. And you have to plant the bomb before the life meter replenishes itself and the turret reactivates. And this person, we ended up blowing the turret, and here we go. So here is the start of CGE, Cure Ground Elite, as we call it. And, you know, I was just curious if anybody's used any of the Alachi stuff. I'm really not big on the lockbox. I think that overall, the Alachi lockbox, it's okay. I like the traits. I am actually using the regenerative tissue trait, as I explained before. But, you know, I'm not really overly big on the ships. I'm kind of waiting to see if the devs nerf the weapons, because they kind of ignore your shields. But I saw someone use them in an STF. They look pretty effective, but I don't know. I mean, I'm one of those canon Trek guys. You know, I like my Dominion ships, my Cardassian Galler, my Ferengi ship, my time ships, Temporal Destroyer, and my Wells time ship. And to me, I think that it's pointless, because, you know, I have no ship slots left. They won't raise the limit. And this is a big reason why I don't get into the lockboxes. If I say had an extra 10 ship slots, I probably would go after, at the very least, I would go after the Alachi ships, maybe. But, you know, I'm pretty content with what I have right now. The fleet versions of most of the Federation ships going on. So, anyhow, here's part one. Now, you see the generator on my right that I just passed up. When you form your team, you pick one guy to guard one. You pick a guy to plant as far as the turrets go. And you have to do this after, obviously, you activate the generators after we kill these guys. But you pick a guy to plant the bombs in the two turrets. Then you get a guy to go to the 2 and 3, and you get a guy in 4. So, and then you got a couple floaters, is usually how you work it. So, we're going to activate number 1, which I believe Ensign Walrus, that's his name, does it. And I'm going to plant on this. Here you go. So you activated it. We're DPSing it. You blow it away. Run around the shields to where the opening is. Bada bing, bada bang. I'm planting the bomb. While the person next to me is, I believe the person's name is 17, DPSs it. And then, boom! Gone. So, anyhow, here we go. Kind of going through and hitting this up. Now, what I'm doing is I'm just helping out the guy who's guarding the 1. Now, someone that's guarding the 1 is preferably is an engineer. But now that he's got that under control, I'm running over to this turret. And I'm going to DPS while 17 plants. And 17 plants the bomb. And down will go the turret. There you go. So now my job is simply, because I'm a floater, planter/floater, I am just going to keep floating and killing drones. Now what you want to do is use weapons that push enemies back. Sniper rifles, the rifle butt, the melee attack, shotguns, anything like that. Any pulse wave guns. Grenades. And I just keep kind of floating from number 1 to 2. I just float everywhere, actually. And you could do all sorts of stuff like release your security teams and things like that. So we just basically prevent the drones from hitting these generators. So that way this Borg beam, this plasma beam, can get all the way to the end. It's like a chain. It goes from one to the other. And open up the Borg shield that's blocking us. So, and you'll see, you have to do this twice total. And I just keep running back and forth and killing drones. Worker drones, actually. Pretty cool stuff. And it's pretty cool. So, this is what you do. And once the shield is gone, you will see us run for our lives and do this all over again. You actually do it twice. And I believe now that they're off, yep, it's time to go. So we're going to run past the shield over here, which you will see is down. And we will start it over by attacking some of these Borg. Now, getting back to my setup, I'm using the adapted Mako set, in case you forgot. I'm using the Mako Mark 12 sniper rifle and the Mark 12 Mako pulse wave / grenade launcher. And a really effective weapon against the Borg. In fact, this pulse wave grenade launcher is like my staple now. Look at this. There we go. So we're going to take these guys out. You let the Klingon loose. Get the DNA sample. And we'll just kind of DPS the elite here. I'm also using the fire team, Romulan fire team kit that you get from the Romulan embassy. Very, very nice. Very, very nice stuff. And we just keep going here. So, some other commentary about the game. Now, you're going to see some other videos. You're going to see videos on the lockboxes. You are going to see videos. I want to do like a lockbox review, I guess I could say. And I'll give you that in a little short and sweet synopsis here. You know, the first one, what was the first one? I think it was Cardassian. Was it Cardassian? All I know is when they first started out, they sucked. The first lockbox were those gifts, the Christmas gift baskets that yielded nothing, and you were able to get the Jem'Hadar fighter, and people were getting pissed because you really didn't get anything out of them. They were spending crazy amounts of money on them. And the funny thing is that I didn't even open a lot of them. I traded somebody a whole bunch of gear, a ton of gear that I crafted for a Jem'Hadar fighter. And I got lucky because he basically was leaving us to go play a different MMO. Or he was leaving the game, I forget, but he just said, screw it. He does come back from time to time, but it's not his main game. But anyway, but I actually traded for 2 of my lockbox ships. I traded for the Jem'Hadar fighter. I ended up getting 2 Cardassian Galers in that lockbox. And I traded one of the Galers for a Ferengi Decora. The Wells, now how did I get the Wells? Well, I got the Wells in a box. I ended up getting 2 of those on a lockbox, and I traded one of them for a Mobius, so I didn't even have to go to the low-buy store. But then after opening so many of them at so much low-buy, when the Dominion carrier came out, the Dreadnought, I was able to buy that, and I ended up getting one of those ships as well in the Dominion lockbox, which today is still my favorite lockbox of all time. Of course, I'm a huge DS9 fan, so the Dominion lockbox, the Ferengi, are 2 of my favorites. The Temporal one I loved. I couldn't have... If I had $1 million, I probably would have spent it on Temporal and Dominion lockboxes at the time, because I loved all the stuff that they yielded. The Cardassia one's okay. Ferengi one is okay. I didn't really care about the Romulan one. I don't even think I opened a Tal Shiar lockbox at all. The Alache, I opened up a few, but since I have a lot of energy credits, I just bought most of the stuff that I wanted, like the traits and everything, from the exchange. So that's pretty much what I did. But you're going to see other stuff. We're going to do more ground walkthroughs, and we'll do some space walkthroughs as well. I haven't really done any of those, but most people do those. I'm doing the grounds because people were asking me, hey, you know, you should do some of the ground STF walkthroughs and actually, you know, show us how to really do them, because a lot of people don't do them. You would be surprised. Just to get a Hive Ground Elite is impossible. So, but I do have a really good run of that recorded that I will put on here eventually. And, yeah, so here we go. We're doing this yet again. Same thing, go after the Borg. And, actually, there are none over here. And if you're ever looking to do these STFs, obviously in the upper portion of your screen, you see the Elite STF channel, the URL. Go to that channel, get info, who the admins are, invite them, etc., etc. Here I am planting another charge to blow a turret. But, yeah, there's the URL right up there. By all means, check it out. You can find a lot of people. If you're looking to get your accolades, get your Omega marks up, to get the different stuff in the Omega marks and things like that. We do Elite STFs and normals for accolades, and it's pretty cool. It's a cool channel, a lot of great players. I don't really have a lot of conflicts on there. I think I have a couple guys that were players that decided to flip out over a video game, but it's happened very rarely. In fact, I can't remember the last time I haven't even hit an optional on something. It's been a long time. So, again, just blowing the turrets like we were doing before. And they got that turret under control. So I'm helping to repel drones from the generators. And, as you can see. And just kind of going from there. So, but it's pretty much cut and dry what you have to do. But you have to have a team that's going to follow their assignments. You also have to have a team that's really going to be adamant about doing this right, because this could be a very bad mission if people don't follow their assignments, or they're not well equipped, or whatever the case may be. It could be a very bad assignment because it could be very hard. Now, when you're looking at your team, it's always to your advantage to have a science officer, but you can get by with engineers, so, you know, that's always a possibility down the line. So it's not very difficult in the end, because you can put turrets everywhere. But the science officer comes in handy when you face Armek, and you'll see why here in a second. I've seen guys actually face him. I've seen one science officer, one guy, after everybody's been killed, just face him, and took 10 minutes, but he ended up beating him, just because he kept healing himself. And Armek couldn't do it. It was like a Klingon science officer. So, but anyway, we're going to keep repelling drones here. And as you see, we're going down. Bada bing, bada bang. And taking these guys out. And here we go. So, the gate's open. The generators have finished doing their job. And, well, you're just going to run. Now, there's one last turret you got to beat the clock. And we get this with about 2 minutes. What I do is when I go to this turret, I unleash my security team. Then I unleash the Hordas, and then what I do is I unleash the orb of whatever you want to call it. I unleash all my extra troops, my security team and stuff like that, and I run straight for the turret and let them keep these drones busy. So you'll see I'm going to start DPSing this thing and start going here. So I'm going to shoot it, keep going, DPS, run through the opening, which is right there, and then I'm going to set the charge And this turret's about toast. And now we have pretty much completed our optional objective for Cure Ground Elite. Pretty easy. It had about two minutes, a little over 2 minutes, 20 seconds left. Not bad. I've had better runs. I've seen better runs. I've seen people get it when there's like 4 or 5 minutes left. It all depends on your team, but this team had a good run. We did well. I think a couple of us only died once, which was me, unfortunately, at the very beginning. And then what you do is you just go up and you go after the rest of the drones until you get to these backup generators here. So once you get to the backup generators, then the shield is open to go after Armek. Now, many people ground STFs. And the thing is about these STFs is that many people don't do them. One of the big reasons is, number one, most people like the space combat better than the ground. And I understand that. I do like ground combat a lot, though. It varies up the game a little bit, and I like the new sets they have. But the other thing that people do that, to me, is something that's maybe not a little crazy, but it's one of those things that people don't get involved in, is that they just don't do ground STFs because of the fact that the loot doesn't yield them as much energy credits. I mean, for example, when you're doing a space STF, you're basically getting like crappy impulse engines and things like that. You can just sell to the vendor at space dock and get a bunch of energy credits. Here, you're getting pistols that yield you like 2,000 energy credits when you can get an impulse engine that does like 35,000. So there's another reason. But, you know, the game's about having fun, and I just kind of snipe everybody from here. Kind of cool. But anyway, the game's about fun, and I love doing ground STFs. It varies up the game a little bit. Back in the day, many of you older players probably remember the fact that these STFs used to take like 3 hours, because what they would do is you had to do Cure Space Elite and Cure Ground just to get like a Borg Impulse engine, and you would only be able to get the set once. A lot different now. They cut them up into halves, the ground missions and the space, which was a great idea for them, I think. And then obviously they upped the rewards of these missions because it was very cool. So you're gonna see us blowing up these backup generators here. We're gonna blow these up, and yeah, there you go. You see my pulse wave assault rifle just going to town on these things. And then after you blow these things up, you got to go fight Armek. Now Armek's pretty cool because of the fact that he's actually one of the toughest enemies in the game. In fact, he is probably the toughest to fight, besides the Borg Queen and that giant assimilated Gorn in the Hive Ground Elite. So now we're all going to run towards where Armek's at. Now, when you fight him, what a lot of people do, a lot of people like to get up right next to him and pulse wave him. And my strategy has always been to get one guy to hit him with a sniper rifle and the other guy's pulse wave him. Because what happens is, once you get him down to a certain life meter, once his life meter gets down to a certain level, he changes, and then he gets like a shield around him. He becomes invulnerable for like, I don't know, like maybe 10 seconds, 15 seconds. Then the sniper, who isn't really affected by any of his attacks in the first half of killing him, basically can run in and revive anybody and then help DPS the crap out of him when he's done. So, you know, so that's pretty much what we do. And you'll kind of see him sitting there. Now, he can be pretty tough. He is not an easy guy to beat by any means. But if you got the right team, you can do it. So, engineers with turrets always help. If you have 5 people that are tactical officers, it's actually very difficult because nobody has any heals or any turrets. And he launches chain attacks on you if you launch your security force. So, and we kind of sitting here planning our attack like most people do. And I'm going up to the upper right to snipe them. Everyone else is going to get their pulse waves out and get them. A couple guys snipe, actually. You'll see a couple guys sniping them. So, here we go. We're going to attack Armek. He is going to die, and everybody readies up. You plan your attack, and hopefully in we go here pretty soon. I don't remember this. I actually pre-recorded this, so this isn't being done live. I like to pre-record runs of these things sometimes. So here we go. So there he is. And you guys got to step in. You'll see the shield. Now here's what's funny. One of our guys actually gets trapped outside of the shield he launches. Therefore, there's only 4 of us attacking him. But we still beat him. See right there. That dude is locked out. So you got to be careful of that. And so you're going to see me snipe him. Boom. Boom. And once his health gets down to a certain level, what you're going to see then is that he's just going to go ballistic and do his big thing. There you go. Look at that. Okay, now I'm going to run an impulse wave him and revive anybody I can. Actually, I don't think I revive anybody. Run around here. He's got his orbital strikes coming after you, which could be deadly. And we're just going to start pulse waving him. Grenade launcher. It's actually not bad. Hypo. And he goes down. And here we are. Get to take my reward here, which is a... That's not it. There's my reward. And we kind of do a little celebration at the end of this. You're going to watch the disco ball from Ryza, from the Ryza event, which was actually a cool event. I have not used the Corvette yet, but we put the disco ball up here. It's pretty funny. We just start celebrating here at the end. Very nice. And I give them the link to. I give everybody the link to the site. I usually do that if I tell people I'm doing a YouTube video. And here we go. We're dancing, celebrating away. Here we are on STOWorld, baby. Ensign Walrus, Marvin, Varen, and 17. And we're just chilling out here, man. Look at us. We got a little medical regenerator going on. Some turrets. Disco ball from Ryza. And all the whole 9 yards. So with that, everybody have a good one. Thanks for watching. I look forward to doing STOWorld episode number 12 pretty soon. And I hope this was helpful for you. If you got any questions, email me at twebster1977. And you can join channel STOWorld. Or you can leave a comment on YouTube if you have any questions. So with that, everybody have a good one. And thanks for watching.